I have been thinking a lot about this lately. And to be just really transparent, I hate that I'm even recording this episode, but I have been thinking a lot about this. And when I think a lot about something, I probably need to write some content, write a Substack article, do a podcast episode, or maybe all of the above. So I'm going to start with this episode and then we'll see where it goes from there. But what I've been thinking about, let me get to it, is the way people talk to each other online. And honestly, I think something deeper is happening than just people are being mean or people are being mean to each other. This episode and the idea for it actually came, like I said, I've been thinking about it a lot, but I decided to do it when I saw another creator talking about comments that she's getting online. People criticizing her for her parenting, her decision to move, for criticizing the way they're making decisions about their kids, just in a whole host of other things that she shared. Just deeply personal attacks that she was getting from strangers. And I was sitting there watching her and feeling like this kind of odd mix of emotions. There was part of me, to be quite frank about it, that felt protective, like big sister, maybe aunt, quite a bit older than her. But there was a part of me that was like, okay, what time do we ride, sister? Like, where are they? Because that's my nature, protective nature. But there's also a part of me that felt really sad. And there was a part of me that thought too, because this is not the first time that I've seen another creator talk about this, but it makes me more and more, it makes me wonder, like, what is happening to us that this type of like attack kind of behavior, troll behavior, whatever you want to call it, what's happening that has become kind of normal behavior in many ways. I'm seeing it more and more and more. And then literally right after, like within 30 minutes of seeing her talk about it online, and clearly she was on some level upset about it, I had another interaction in my own inbox that made me stop and think about this whole thing on an even deeper level. So for some context, I sometimes run ads for my women's coaching business, right? And the ad basically invites women who are ready for help and want a solution to the struggles that they're dealing with. It invites them to reach out to me. I do not cold message. I do not send DMs to people. I have never done that. I feel like that is ick. I've had people do that to me. I've had business coaches and mentors I've heard tell people to do that, and I just think it's icky. I don't do that. So my ad invites women, if this is what you want, you reach out to me and then I'll share some information with you. Now, I did used to run that ad, and women would kind of accidentally click on it sometimes, which I that can happen. I've accidentally clicked on an ad, maybe trying to make the video open up on your feed or whatever, right? So they would accidentally click the ad. So I changed the system, the way the ad works. So now if a woman clicks the ad, they do get from within Facebook, there's one automated message that I set up that's a confirmation message first. So basically, that message is like a way to say, hey, like, I'm just making sure you clicked this ad and you want this information before I continue. And then they have to click again within Messenger. So it's like a double opt-in, a pause, a confirmation that, yes, this is what you want. So if they actually want the information, then they have to physically click on a button inside Messenger that sends me a message. And if they clicked it by accident, they can say, oops, clicked it by accident, or just not even respond, right? And most normal people handle it exactly the way that you would expect. Sometimes women say, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked that." And no problem. Totally human, totally normal. I just like I said, I've done it myself. But every now and then, a woman will respond with stop or unsubscribe. And sometimes they even put it in all caps, which my Gen X brain reads that as yelling because that's what we were taught, right? When you use all caps in texts or messages, it's yelling. And so, yes, I'm going to be honest. I find that rude. I do because it's not random spam texting that you're getting on your phone, right? You clicked the ad, you initiated the interaction, and there's an actual human being sitting on the other side of those messages. I most often, I would say 99% of the time, I voice note. Like I literally pick up my phone and I voice note in real time messages to hundreds and hundreds of women who click that ad and who message me. So back to after seeing this creator this morning, I have this interaction. So this morning, this woman sent the word stop. And I explained, because I do this now, like I explained, there's, no problem. I won't send a message, but, I am a real person here because I want people to know I'm not sending bot messages. I'm not sending automatic messages out to a bunch of people. When you're talking to me, you're talking to me. And I wanted her to know that she initiated that interaction because the only way she got that first message was by clicking the ad. So I wanted to share that with her. Boy, she escalated immediately, calling me names, told me to get a real job, just nasty. And here's what struck me about it, or one of the things that struck me about it. I clicked on her profile and there she was, identity, Christian themed cover photo, completely visible human being. And I thought, this is what fascinates me. Not the insult or insults themselves, but the disconnect. Because I don't think most people would walk into a room, physically walk into a room, look at another woman in the face and say, get a real job. You're a scam artist. I don't think they would say those things, especially over a confirmation message they triggered themselves. So, what changes online? What happens psychologically behind a screen? And I think the answer is that social media has started training us to stop emotionally experiencing people as fully real, right? We are reacting to profiles and content. We're reacting to creators, to headlines, to opinions, to snippets of someone's life, not to humans with nervous systems, not to lives, just like as emotional targets in a way. And social media rewards emotional discharge. Outrage gets engagement. Mockery gets engagement. Superiority gets engagement. Snark gets engagement. The algorithm does not care if behavior is healthy. It cares if behavior is active. And I think we're all slowly being conditioned by that environment, whether we realize it or not. And I dare say, maybe even especially women. And I want to be careful here because I'm not interested in turning this conversation into a women are horrible to women kind of discussion, because I don't think those conversations are nuanced enough, quite frankly. But I do think a lot of women are they're carrying around enormous amounts of stress and resentment and loneliness and comparison, disappointment, and overstimulation. That's the word, overstimulation. A lot of women are carrying around a lot of emotional exhaustion. And leaks, some of it just leaks out sideways and online. And I think some women are truly deeply unhappy. That doesn't make them evil. I'm not saying they're monsters, but they're disconnected from themselves. That type of deep unhappiness is what I mean. And when you're disconnected from yourself, it becomes a lot easier to disconnect from the humanity of other people too, especially online where there's no eye contact, there's no tone, there's no nervous system response, there's no social accountability in the same way as there is in person. You can just fire off something emotionally and move on with your day online, right? Meanwhile, the person on the other side of that message is sitting there, or that comment is sitting there absorbing it. And I do think that content creators feel this in sort of a unique way because people begin relating to them like they're maybe public property to consume instead of human beings. People forget that creator has a family, that creator has kids, that creator has a hard day, a body maybe they're already insecure about, a nervous system that is fried, a life, a real life. I think social media has blurred the lines between accessibility and entitlement in some way. And frankly, I think we all need to think about what kind of person we are becoming online. Not just kind of what kind of content we consume, but how we interact and behave. Would you say that to someone's face? Would you say that if your daughter were standing beside you? Would you say that if someone stood up and read that out loud at your church or your workplace, at your family's dinner table? Because I think some people have created this psychological split where their online self no longer feels connected to their real world identity. And that should concern all of us, especially because this doesn't stay online. The way we practice speaking to people eventually becomes the way we see people. And I think a lot of us are becoming emotionally numb to each other. And I'm not saying that that's because we're bad people or becoming bad people, but because we've normalized this constant exposure without human connection, constant reaction without pause, without reflection, and frankly, constant access without accountability. I'm not saying the answer is to become softer or pretending boundaries don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. I think the answer is remembering there's an actual human being on the other side of these screens. Even when you disagree, even when you're annoyed, even when you clicked something by accident, there's still a person there. And maybe the bigger question all of this has made me ask is what kind of world are we creating if we slowly stop seeing each other as human the moment the screen gets involved? Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to me. I hope it was something that made you contemplate. I know not everyone does this, but gosh, so many people do. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you right back here next time.